My husband asked me for a divorce on Christmas Day and his family started to applaud, but what I did next left them frozen. This happened last Christmas and sometimes I still wake up thinking about that applause. I was 32 years old and my now ex-husband Alejandro, 34, decided to drop the bomb in the most humiliating way possible. We were at his parents' house for Christmas dinner. Everyone was there. His mom Patricia, his dad Hector, his brother Lucas, and his sister Mariana, all laughing, toasting with champagne, talking about trips, about that close-knit family they swore they were. Then Alejandro stands up, taps his glass and says he has an announcement. I thought maybe he'd say we were going on a trip or that we had finally gotten the house. I even thought for a second he was going to say we were going to be parents, but no. He looks straight at me, as if I were an extra in his movie, and says, "I'm happy to announce that I'm divorcing Sofia. I don't want to be with someone so mediocre anymore." Silence. A Christmas silence. A silence that smelled of turkey and betrayal. 2 seconds later, his entire family started to applaud. His mother hugged him. "Finally, son. You deserve better than her." His father raised his glass. Lucas and Mariana literally clapped as if it were a show, and Alejandro kept talking as if I didn't exist. Besides, my boss, Daniela, has been asking me to marry her for months. She actually treats me like a king. I can't wait to start my real life. His brother laughed. "Looks like Christmas came early this year, bro." I just sat there. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't beg. Alejandro threw the divorce papers on the table and said, "Sign them." And his mother added, "Let the boy live his life, Sofia. Stop clinging to what's no longer yours." I stood up slowly, straightened my dress, took the papers and said only this, "I hope your new life treats you exactly as you've treated me." And I walked out into the snow. What none of them knew was this. When I met Alejandro 5 years ago, he was the one who was broke. He worked as a waiter at an event, helped his cousin in an office, and lived by counting coins. One night he spilled wine on my blouse and we started talking. He was charming, ambitious. I fell in love. We got married in his parents' garden with string lights and a small cake. He never really asked me at what level I worked. I told him I worked in construction management. It wasn't a lie, I just omitted some details. 2 years ago his dad got sick. Cancer. The medical bills were destroying them. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Patricia cried every night, saying they were going to lose the house. Alejandro didn't know what to do. I made a single phone call. The next morning the entire debt disappeared. The hospital told them it had been an anonymous donor. They called it a miracle. Called it love. I also opened credit cards for his parents through my company, disguised as an assistance program. They never asked where the money was coming from. His sister Mariana and his brother Lucas got jobs in companies that I own. Again, no one asked how, because in their minds I was just Alejandro's wife. Let's go to the day of the divorce. A month later we were in court. Alejandro arrived with his whole family, all with faces that said, "We won." The judge finalized everything. I didn't contest anything. Alejandro even blurted out, "I don't want your alimony. I don't need your spare change." We went outside. And that's where everything changed. 3 black SUVs and a Rolls-Royce pulled up in front of the building. People in expensive suits got out, executives his family knew by name. I heard Lucas whisper, "Isn't that Mr. Hay from Carter Holdings?" Mariana recognized people from the same company where she worked, and they all walked towards me. One greeted me and stood by my side as if he were my staff. I stood on the steps, watching as Alejandro and his family continued to celebrate as if they had won the lottery. The snow was falling, but I didn't feel cold. I only felt that hole where my heart used to be. Lucas walked past me with a smirk. "Ready to go back to your loser life, Sofia? Now that my brother's free of you, let's see if you can get a job at one of those construction companies where you say you work." I didn't answer. The car doors opened simultaneously. From the first, Thomas Hay, CEO of Carter Holdings, stepped out. From the second, Margaret Chun, CEO of Chun Industries. From the third, Richard Blackwood of the Blackwood Capital. And from the last SUV she emerged, Victoria Ashford. Black cashmere coat, hair in a perfect bun, heels that sounded like a verdict. All the executives lined up behind me. Alejandro's mom's mouth fell open. His dad frowned. Alejandro stopped smiling. Thomas was the first. Ma'am, please forgive the delay. The traffic from the head office was terrible. I shook his hand. Margaret gave a slight bow. Richard handed me a leather folder. All the documents you requested are here, ma'am. Reviewed and signed by legal. And then Victoria spoke. And when she speaks, everyone listens. You're late, I said softly. Timing is everything, she replied with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She turned to Alejandro's family, who were still frozen on the stairs. Mrs. Patricia, or should I say Mrs. Fernandez, now that your son is officially divorced. Who are you? Alejandro's mother asked, offended. I am Victoria Ashford, majority partner of Ashford Enterprises. I also own Carter Holdings, Chun Industries and Blackwood Capital. Basically, I own the 3 companies where you all work. Silence. You could hear the wind. What? Said Alejandro's father, pale. Victoria took out her phone, looked for something and showed it to him. This is the hospital where you were treated 2 years ago. The debt that magically disappeared. You remember. The anonymous donor, Hector murmured. It wasn't anonymous, Victoria interrupted. It was her, and she pointed at me. It was she continued, who opened the lines of credit you thought were charity. And it was she who got Lucas and Mariana their positions in my companies. Lucas was speechless. Mariana started to cry, but out of panic. That's impossible, Alejandro finally said. Sofia. She works in construction. She's a low-level administrator. She doesn't have that kind of money. Victoria gave a short laugh. Low-level administrator? Your ex-wife is the chief operating officer of my entire real estate development division. She has overseen the construction of 20 commercial buildings in the last 3 years, each valued at over $50 million. I watched as Alejandro began to break. And that's not all, said Victoria. She's also a minority shareholder in my companies. She has a stake in 3 of them. Her personal net worth is around $47 million. Alejandro's world came crashing down. His mom put her hand to her mouth. His dad lowered his head. Why did you never say anything? He asked me, but with no arrogance left, barely a whisper. For the first time since we left the courthouse I spoke. Because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not for what I have. Apparently that was a mistake. His father spoke, his voice breaking. But you paid for everything. You helped us when we needed it most. I did it for love, I said. Because I thought we were family. Victoria stepped in front of me. And that family, she said, looking at all of them, just publicly humiliated her on Christmas. As of today, all personal benefits granted by Mrs. Sofia are suspended. Your positions will be reviewed, and any linked lines of credit will be cancelled. You can't do that, Patricia shouted. I can, and I already have, Victoria said without raising her voice. I looked at Alejandro one last time. You wanted your real life. Keep it. I'll keep mine, the one I always had, I just never flaunted it to you. I got into the Rolls-Royce. The snow kept falling, and for the first time since it all began, I didn't feel rejected. I felt free. It wasn't until 2 days later that I understood the extent of the damage, because when a powerful woman cuts off benefits, the entire system starts to scream. On December 27th at 8:14 a.m., my corporate phone exploded with messages. First, Mariana. Sophie, please tell them it was a misunderstanding. HR called me. They said my contract is under review. I have rent. I have a car payment. Don't do this to me. 5 minutes later, Lucas. What did you do? They locked me out of the system. They said by decision of the board I'm suspended until further notice. Sophia, talk to your boss. You know I only did what Mom told me to. Don't leave me with nothing. I just looked, left them unanswered and went to make coffee. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't the one doing the chasing. And then came the best part. Patricia called 3 times. On the 4th I answered. What is it, Mrs. Patricia? I asked with the same politeness as always. It wasn't arrogance anymore, it was fear. Listen, dear, you know things are said in the heat of the moment. Alejandro got carried away, but you know him. It was the emotion of the moment. Christmas, wine, those things. It was humiliation, I corrected. And not just from Alejandro, from all of you. But you know we love you, she forced. That we've always seen you as a daughter. Before or after you applauded me being left in the middle of Christmas? Silence. The kind of silence where the person on the other end is chewing on their words. Look, Sophia, she lowered her tone. The bank called us. The line of credit we had, the one you helped us get, was zeroed out. And the hospital sent another letter saying there was an error in the system, and they need to validate the donor. There was no error, I said. There was ingratitude. Sophia, my husband is sick. She almost cried. Don't take everything from us. I didn't take anything from you, I replied. I just stopped giving. And you're only now seeing how much I was giving. She took a deep breath. What do you want? She finally asked, like someone surrendering. I smiled, but she couldn't see it. I want you to learn to live with what you have, just like I did with your son when he came to me with a negative bank account. And I hung up because it wasn't revenge, it was math. What they didn't know was that Victoria hadn't stopped. At 10 a.m., she called me to her panoramic office on the 32nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a winter view, a capsule coffee machine that costs more than many cars. You look better, she said without looking up from her tablet. People usually look better when they get rid of 80 kilos of someone else's ego. And you look better when you cut people off, I joked. I look richer, she corrected, laughing. She handed me a black folder. Mariana and Lucas's cases are processed. They're not fired yet, she raised a finger. They're under review. That means they don't get paid for what they haven't earned. If they want to stay, they'll have to apply like any mortal with interviews on merit without pulling strings. And the parents? I asked. The hospital won't let them die, she shrugged. But it won't be free anymore, Sophia. It'll be the basic plan. If they want a suite and a star doctor, let the wonderful son-in-law who left you on Christmas pay for it. I laughed. Speaking of which, she glanced at me sideways. Has the wonderful son-in-law shown up yet? Not yet. Well, brace yourself. Because it didn't even take half a day. Alejandro texted me first with pride. Let's talk. I didn't reply. He texted again. They're calling me from work. Did you do something? I didn't reply. He called. I answered. What did you do, Sophia? It was no longer the king of the world Alejandro. It was the Alejandro who once asked me for a $2,000 loan just to make it to the end of the month. I did nothing. Your choices did. Did you say something about me at your company? No. Daniela called me. She said there's a situation with regional management. They froze my email. I had a promotion pending. I smiled, stirring my coffee. Alejandro, I said sweetly, you went to court to say you didn't want my spare change. I just made sure you wouldn't receive it. Silence. So you talked to Victoria? He asked, somewhere between disbelief and fear. No. Victoria spoke to you. Through your consequences. He changed his tone. Sophia, look, he sighed. Maybe I was too hasty. Christmas, family pressure. Daniela on top of me. Let's talk about Daniela, I cut in. She already knows you're not the regional manager of anything. He was speechless. Daniela, he stammered. She has money. She's the daughter of. A man who's been trying to get on my board for 3 years, I completed. And who will now have to come in through the front door, not through my ex's bed. That's when he exploded. You had it all hidden. Playing the humble one. You made me look like an idiot in front of my family. No, Alejandro, I corrected calmly. You made yourself look like an idiot when you chose applause over character. I just pulled the rug out so you could see. Come back, he blurted out of nowhere. I almost laughed out loud. Excuse me. Come back, he rushed. Not as a wife. Or maybe. I don't know, but come talk to Mom. We can fix this. You can explain to them that you did it for love, that the help was. He searched for the word. Disinterested. Alejandro, I said, putting a beautiful sorrow in my voice, the kind that hurts and gets views. I helped you all when I was your wife, when I was family. Now I'm an ex. And an ex doesn't support a family that applauds humiliation. He was left panting. What if we do it another way? He lowered his voice, trying to get seductive. You and I know each other. You know I know. He laughed softly. That what you like? We can see each other without them knowing. You continue with your silent millionaire life and you have your corporate mistress? No, I finished dryly. And your mom is happy and your sister keeps spending. No, Alejandro. That arrangement worked when I was poor and depended on you. Now you depend on me, and I don't negotiate with desperation. I hung up. Victoria on the other side of the table just raised an eyebrow. He tried the bed route, she guessed. He tried them all, I replied. The victim, the macho, the lover. All that's left is the my mom will call you crying one. Give it an hour, she said. It'll come. It didn't take an hour. A voice message arrived from Daniela, the boss, with the voice of someone used to speaking while everyone else listens. Hello, Sophia. It's Daniela. We don't know each other directly, but I know very well who you are. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Alejandro exaggerated at Christmas, but I have nothing against you. In fact, I admire what you do. Can we talk? I'm at the Grand Central Hotel, 14th floor, corporate suite. My treat. We can reach an agreement. I showed it to Victoria. She'll want to buy your silence, she said. Or ask you not to close the door on her dad, I completed. Take her up on it. Victoria passed me a card. And record. Always record. I went. The Grand Central is one of those hotels that serves water in glass bottles and puts fresh flowers in the bathroom. The 14th floor hallway smelled of discreet money. Daniela opened the door in a champagne silk dress, perfect hair, expensive perfume. Sophia, she smiled. Now that I see you, I understand why Alejandro stuck around for 5 years. And now that I hear you, I replied, I understand why he thought he could replace me. She laughed, but her eyes didn't. I'll get straight to the point, she said, pouring wine as if we were friends. What happened at Christmas was unnecessary. I didn't ask him to humiliate you. I just told him he couldn't be involved with you if he wanted the promotion. His family did the rest. They're like that self-serving primitive, she corrected without guilt. And also useful. Hector has contacts. Patricia manages a group of ladies with important donations. Mariana moves people on social media. Lucas. Well, Lucas, no. Lucas is decorative. I almost laughed. And what do you want? I asked. For you not to destroy them, she said directly. Not now. Give me time. I can relocate them. We can say it was a Christmas confusion, that you had an emotional reaction, that of course you're grateful for your time with them, that you were generous. And that I become invisible, I completed. Not invisible, she bit her lip. Elegant. Some people have money and don't rub it in people's faces. I didn't rub it in anyone's face, I reminded her. Until they spat in mine. She sighed tired. Sophia, she lowered her tone. You know how the high levels work. We fight but not in front of everyone. You two put on a show at the courthouse steps. Now the whole company knows Alejandro's ex is the owner of half the world. And that creates. She searched. Noise. Noise that he started. Noise that you can turn off, she smiled. Look. She took out a folder. I have a proposal here. I clean up your image, you clean up theirs. I talk to Dad, release the credit lines again, keep Mariana's job going, and in return, I let your boyfriend keep saying he's a manager. I finished. She looked at me directly. In return, you let me keep him, she said simply. I stayed silent. Alejandro is useful to me, she continued. He's handsome, he knows how to sell himself, he has a family that pushes for him, and above all, he's manipulable. I'm not going to throw away a man like that because he has an ex richer than me. It doesn't make sense. But I can make him think he forgave you. That helps you. Good mature woman who doesn't hold a grudge, perfect image. And you go back to being the silent businesswoman you liked being. She thought she had me there. Daniela, I said calmly, you're offering me back the life I built for myself as if it were a prize. But you forgot one thing. What's that? That now I like being seen. She blinked. What you all did was public, I continued. What I do will be public too. I can forgive. I can go back, but I'm not going to make it seem like I was the one who was wrong. So if you want to negotiate, bring numbers. She opened her eyes wide. Numbers. Yes. You want to keep Alejandro because he's politically useful to you. I want it so that by staying with you, Alejandro can never touch the shares I own. I want him to renounce in writing any future claims. I want him to sign that the help to his family was unilaterally mine. I want your dad to affirm he didn't pressure me. And I want a 5% stake in your group's next construction project in Miami. She almost choked. Are you crazy? I'm divorced, I corrected. And we no longer give away love or money for free. She just stared at me. You really know how to play the game, she said, almost in admiration. I learned from people who applaud divorces at dinner. She took a deep breath. I'll talk to my father. Do that. I have time. And before leaving, I left her a little gift. Oh, and tell Alejandro he can say he left me. But everyone already knows who left the courthouse in a Rolls-Royce. When I got back to the office, Victoria had the TV on. A business news channel. And guess what was already happening? Anonymous businesswoman who paid for her father-in-law's treatment is humiliated by family on Christmas. Turns out to be a millionaire executive. I stood there stunned. That was you. I looked at her. Not me. Victoria raised her hands. I think someone from compliance leaked it. Or someone from the court, or someone from your ex-mother-in-law who talked too much at her church group. It doesn't matter. It's out now. And now, Victoria smiled with that rich wolf look. Now we leverage it. How? With an event. An event. Yes. She opened her calendar. The Ashford Foundation Winter Gala. We always invite politicians, bankers, boring influencers. This year we're going to invite, she looked at me, Sophia, the woman who helped in silence and was betrayed on Christmas. Everyone loves a story of humiliation and a comeback. And we're going to do it at the same club where his family shows off every year. That will kill them. It will make them pay for a ticket to see you shine. I smiled. Let's do it. But be prepared, Victoria warned. Because when they see themselves truly without money, they stop being just unpleasant. They get dangerous. I've already seen them. No, she shook her head. You haven't seen them yet. And right then my phone vibrated again. Unknown number. A short message. Sophia. It's Hector, your ex-father-in-law. I need to see you alone. I can't talk about it over the phone. Don't tell Patricia. It's about the money and about something Alejandro never told you. I read it twice. I looked at Victoria. I'm going. Of course you're going, she said. But don't go alone. He asked to meet alone. Then go with silent backup, she winked. There are things about money and inheritance that family never told you. And I went. I went to the place Hector asked for. An old coffee shop. Nothing fancy. The kind that still has ashtrays even though you can't smoke anymore and smells like burnt sugar and reheated coffee. It wasn't his style. That's how I knew it was serious. I arrived 10 minutes early. I sat with my back to the door, just as Victoria taught me. Never turn your back on someone who owes you money. 2 minutes later, Hector walked in. He wasn't the proud man from the dinners. He was thinner, his coat poorly buttoned, with the eyes of someone who hadn't slept. He was carrying a hospital folder under his arm and a manila envelope. Thanks for coming, he said bluntly. You said it was about the money, I reminded him. It's about the money and about Alejandro. I signaled the waiter. 2 coffees. Hector waited for him to leave, then lowered his voice. Patricia thinks you're the problem, he said. That the rich lady manipulated you, that you think you're better than us. But that's not it. The problem is that you saw how we live. You knew the house, the car, the trips. Right. Right, he inhaled. None of it was ours. I looked at him intently. What do you mean it wasn't yours? He opened the envelope, took out some yellowish papers. I had a small construction company, very small. Alejandro was a teenager. We went bankrupt in 2008. We almost lost everything. The house where you two got married wasn't ours. It belonged to Patricia's sister. The car Alejandro boasts about was paid for in 60 installments. The trips were financed. We live on appearances. The puzzle pieces fell into place. The applause, the arrogance, the need for an anonymous donor. And why didn't you say anything? I asked. Because Patricia said you were good for it, that you paid without asking questions, that you wanted to please, That you were the best deal that had ever happened to Alejandro. He looked down, and I allowed it. I felt a sad anger. Not the kind that screams, but the kind that says, of course that's what it was. So why did you call me? Hector pushed the second envelope forward. It was newer cream-colored. Because there's one thing that neither Patricia nor Alejandro knows, he said. And if they find out from me, they'll kick me out of the house. But if they find out from you, they won't be able to pretend it doesn't exist. What is it? Alejandro. He swallowed. He has no right to your money, but he doesn't have a right to mine either. I frowned. Explain. Alejandro. Hector took a deep breath. He is not my biological son. The coffee hung in the air. What? I raised him as if he were. I registered him. I gave him my last name. But he's not. Patricia came with him. He's mine now, she said. He was 2 years old. I was in love. I didn't ask questions. We paid lawyers, got papers, everything. But, he opened the envelope. There's a document that says if there's no blood link and no verifiable contributions, debts are not inherited. Neither is the inheritance. So I leaned in. If he was planning on keeping your house, it's a no-go. No. And with what you gave either, he affirmed. I started to see the play. You want this to come out? I asked. I want him to stop, Hector said bluntly. To stop spending what isn't his. To stop taking Patricia to the mall as if nothing happened. To stop promising Daniela that his dad has land. I have nothing. What I had you paid for. I want him to understand that the only person who supported him these years was you. And that without you the mask comes off. I looked at him. And you want me to be the bad guy, I said without sugarcoating it. I want you to be the only one he'll listen to, he corrected. Because he doesn't listen to me anymore. Patricia even less. He's afraid of you. I played with the spoon. Hector, if I bring this out, Patricia will hate me even more. Alejandro will say I destroyed him. Is it worth it? It is, he said firmly. Because unlike Patricia, I do thank you for what you did. You saved my life, and I can't look the other way while my son on paper spits on you with a car that you paid for. My chest loosened a bit. That at least one person from that house said thank you was already worth it. You know the winter gala is coming up? I asked him. And that they'll all be there, glass in hand, cameras in their faces. I know. Then let's do this. I rested my elbows on the table. You say nothing. I say nothing. Let them come. Let them beg. When they're on their knees, then we show them the paper. That way I'm not the one who attacked. They're the ones who asked for it. Hector smiled wearily. Now you sound like the woman who manages millions, he said. Because now it's worth showing. I winked. We parted with a handshake that held more gratitude than interest. I left the coffee shop and sent a voice note to Victoria. Confirmed. The father isn't the father. There's a document. This is usable. Her reply came instantly. Usable? We love this. The day of the gala was a delight. All glass and ice sculpture with the foundation's logo, French champagne, a string orchestra, people in long dresses that cost as much as a car, politicians smiling too much, and influencers pretending to understand philanthropy. And of course media coverage, because when a story like this leaks, everyone wants to show the humble woman who was secretly a millionaire. Victoria made sure to put me center stage. An emerald green dress, an elegant slit, hair in waves, nothing vulgar. Everything expensive. A single piece of jewelry, a minimal diamond necklace, the signature of someone who doesn't need to shout. Today, Victoria said before we got out of the car, you're not the ex who was humiliated. Today you are Sophia, the one who put up the money. If anyone asks about Alejandro, you smile and say, I wish him the best. That kills them more than any insult. And if they come begging, let them come. And they came. First Mariana, in a rented dress. I recognized it because it was from a store that provides services to us with the face of someone at the wrong party. Sophie, she approached. Can we talk for a second? Of course, I smiled. But make it quick, they're about to call me for photos. Look, HR told me you're reviewing my contract. I just want you to know it was never personal. Mom talks too much. You know how she is. I know, I nodded. And I know you're an adult too. She swallowed. I need that job. Then earn it on merit, I said low and firm. Send your resume through the portal, not to me. Do the interviews. Show you're worth it. Then you can stay. If not, then no. She turned red. But before I got in she almost said because I was your sister-in-law, but she stopped herself. Exactly, I completed. That was before. This is after. Mariana walked away with tears in her eyes, but she walked away. Next was Lucas, in a borrowed suit and the smile of a coarse salesman. Sophie, my queen. A fake hug. Look at you, gorgeous. Hello, Lucas. I spoke with the department staff and they said it was a mistake, that my access was revoked, that everything was going fine, that you could just put in a good word. It wasn't a mistake. I looked him in the eye. It was a decision. He blinked. But you put me there. I put you there because I thought you were going to work, not to make fun of me on the courthouse steps. His smile vanished. It was a joke. Jokes have a price, I said. Yours cost you a job. His face hardened. So that's how it is. You get rich and forget who was with you. Who was with me? I tilted my head. I paid the hospital bill, gave you a job, gave you credit, and at the first chance you called me a loser. The ones who forgot were you. He wanted to say something vulgar, but he saw the photographers and swallowed it. And finally Alejandro. He waited for the right moment. When the mayor's speech ended, when everyone went for drinks, when the music got louder and the cameras turned back to the stage. He came alone, without his mom, his dad, or Daniela. Impeccable black suit, rented, new styled hair, a face that said, I'm in hell but I'm smiling. Hello, Sophia. Alejandro. You look. He looked me up and down. The way you should have always looked. I always looked like this. You just didn't want to see it. He took a deep breath. Look, I'm not here to fight. I know. I know what happened at Christmas was too much, and I know you're on top now. He looked around. Way on top. It's not on top, I corrected. It's where I've always been. You're just seeing it now. Well, he ran a hand through his hair. I'm here to ask you not to cut off my parents. There it was. My dad is worse. Mom doesn't know how to manage money. He lowered his voice. I lost the promotion. And Daniela, well, she said she needs me to fix this with you because otherwise her dad can't get on your board. If you want. He looked at me with that face that once made me fall in love. I can publicly say that I love you, that I regret it, that you were the one who helped me. We can even. He lowered his voice even more. Be seen together. It's good for everyone. Everyone. I raised an eyebrow. For me too. Yes, he rushed. Because you'll stop being the humiliated ex and you'll be the one who came back. No one will say you were left. They'll say it was a misunderstanding. Your image is clean. Mine too. My parents keep their house. Daniela's happy, you're happy. Everybody wins. Not everyone, I said. One person is missing. Who? Your truth. He frowned. Just then Victoria appeared out of nowhere, as always, with a drink in her hand. Mr. Fernandez, she said professionally. How nice to see you at an event where you're not glued to the bar. He tensed up. Mrs. Ashford. Since you're here, he smiled. Let me tell you something curious. Your son, she made discreet air quotes, tried to activate a line of credit today in the name of his family business. I knew it. Hector, who was a few feet away talking to an investor, heard. He came closer. I didn't authorize it. Alejandro went white. Dad. I didn't authorize it, Hector repeated. Because it's not yours. Because you are not my heir in that regard. Because you have the last name on paper but not in your blood. And because the only one who put money here is wearing green. Heads turned. Alejandro stood frozen. What are you saying? I'm saying, Hector stood firm, that the only real wealth you've ever seen in your life was what Sophia brought, and you've already lost it. Alejandro looked at me as if I had stabbed him. You told him. I didn't answer. He searched my face. Because someone in your family still knows how to say thank you. Patricia, who had been lurking, came running. What are you all saying? What's this about him not being your heir? Victoria took a sip of champagne. Oh, you didn't know? She said with false surprise. I thought you were in on all the paperwork. Hector. Patricia almost screamed. Tell me it's not true. It's true, he said. And it's better you find out here than in a courtroom. Patricia started to tremble. You, she pointed at me. You did this. No, Patricia, I replied calmly, but loud enough for others to hear. What I did was stop paying. What you all did was applaud when I was humiliated. And what he did, I pointed to Hector, was be honest. Alejandro Corner did the only thing he knows how to do, attack. You think you're better than us because you have money, but you got involved with a committed man. You got involved with my boss, you. I cut him off. I put food on your table. I paid for your wedding suit. I paid for your father's ventilator. I paid for the car your mother drives. I kept quiet when I saw you leaving a hotel with Daniela. I protected your image as a good man, and you still called me mediocre. Silence. The journalists, because of course there were journalists, already had their cameras pointing. Victoria saw it and did what only very rich people know how to do. Control the narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, she said, smiling, please no scandals. This is a night of celebration. Mrs. Sophia spent years helping this family in silence. Tonight is her night. Any questions about her divorce can be directed to my legal team. Translation. Shut your mouths or you'll find out how much it costs to cross Ashford. Alejandro started to sweat. Sophia. He returned to a low, almost pleading tone. Don't leave me like this. I don't know how to live without this. Without, he looked around. This. Learn, I replied. Like I learned to live without you. And I walked out of the circle, leaving them with their own ghosts. Victoria came up behind me. That was nice, she said. It was clean. No yelling and it was public. That. Do you think it's over? I asked. No, she smiled. They'll still try to bite you. People who lose money bite. But now they're biting from below. I left the gala with that strange feeling you get when the world finally sees you for who you always knew you were. But families who live on appearances don't go to sleep just because you shone for one night. They wake up more venomous. The first test came the next day. 7:01 a.m. A message from an unknown number with a blank profile picture. We know you weren't always so rich, Sophia. We have pictures of you from before with your college ex. If you don't want them to come out, talk to us. M. Mariana. 2 minutes later. Another number. Sophia, check your email. V. Victoria. I opened my corporate email. She had forwarded me something that had already reached our council. Subject. Sensitive material regarding your executive. Attached. 3 old photos of me when I was 22, hair in a messy bun in a construction uniform, and in one of them I was kissing a guy in a cap at a bar, clearly just off a shift. Nothing serious, nothing that would ruin me. But families who live for theater think any photo where you're not in heels is destructive. Victoria had already left a note at the bottom. It's nothing, but they've started. They're going to try to bring you down to their level. Breathe and don't delete. We can use this. I smiled because it was obvious. Patricia couldn't handle the humiliation of the gala and went digging into my life. She found old photos. Maybe her sister found an old social media profile. She thought, with this, I'll destroy her. They always underestimate the woman who climbs. I left it. At 9:30 a.m. Patricia called. Sophia. No, good morning. I already know you're sending the press after us. Me. I laughed. The newspaper that published it is a financial one. The banks sent them. They like to know who's really giving out the money. You're no saint, she spat. You're worse than those women who seduce old men. You inserted yourself into a family that wasn't yours, and now you think you have the right to take what's ours. I didn't take anything from you, I said patiently. I just stopped paying for it. It's different. She got sharper. And what if everyone knew that you're not the perfect businesswoman? That there was a time when you went to sleazy bars with men who couldn't even pay for your taxi? Are you going to stop paying for that too? I was silent for a second. Release them, Patricia, I said. Release the photos. What? Release them. Publish them, send them to your groups, post them, send them to your church. Look how poor the woman who paid for our hospital was. Send them and see what happens. She froze. I don't believe you. Let me explain, I continued. What embarrasses you, normal people fall in love with. People love a before and after story. If you show that I used to wear a hard hat and was covered in mud, you know what they'll say? Look how far she's come. And you know what they'll say about you? Look how they bit the hand that fed them. A heavy silence. You, she whispered, are evil. No, I corrected. I learned public relations. You learn neighborhood gossip. They're not the same thing. She hung up. 2 minutes later. Mariana. Sophie. Mom is out of control. She wants to post them. Stop her, she's going to ruin herself. I replied, let her. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Daniela was cooking up something else because she's not stupid. The same day as the gala, her father had tried to talk to Victoria and couldn't. So she went for the weakest link, Alejandro. And Alejandro, when he's desperate, sings. At 11:07 a.m., Victoria sent me another voice note. Your ex just told his boss that he's willing to tell everyone how you got into the companies. If we don't give him his job back. In other words, he's going to try to say you slept your way to the top. Good. Time to show him that the bed has a camera. I laughed out loud. You filmed him? I asked on the call. I film everything that could cost me millions, Victoria replied, chewing on something. And more. Do you really think I'd let you work on $50 million projects for 3 years without having documentation of every signature? He wants to say you climbed because you were pretty. I'll show your 180-page feasibility report, and he'll look like a clown. He'll insist. Then we'll do better. We'll show that he was the one who tried to use his body to get ahead. I have his emails to Daniela. I have. Let's go to the hotel and talk about the position. I have. I'll divorce her and marry you. If he wants to play in the mud has a name. Do we release it? No, she smiled. We save it. Because I want to see how far his desperation goes. How far did it go? To my house. Yes. End of the day. 7:43 p.m. The doorman called me. Mrs. Sophia, there's a gentleman here saying he's your ex-husband, that he really needs to speak with you. I looked at the security camera. Alejandro without a coat. A defeated look on his face. None of that confidence from the courthouse. The snow falling behind him. Victoria was right. When they see themselves truly without money, they get dangerous. I could have said not to let him up, but I wanted to see. Let him come up. He entered the apartment slowly, looking at everything as if it were the first time. And in reality it was. Because when he was my husband, he never really looked at my apartment. He always thought it was rented by my company. Now he saw the view, the heated floors, the paintings, the wine, the table. All mine. It's nice, he said almost shyly. You never brought me here. You never asked. He remained standing, not knowing what to do with his hands. Sophia, I know I have no right, but my mom is scared. Mariana lost her salary. Dad. He lowered his voice. Dad told you. He didn't have to tell me. Then you know. That not all of it was my fault, that mom used you, that I. He touched his chest. That let myself be used. You let yourself be used, I confirmed. And you used me. Yes, he admitted for the first time. I used you. Because it was easy. Because you gave. Because you were good. Because you had money and didn't talk about it. But, he looked at me. I loved you too. There was the poison. I really loved you, he insisted. When you didn't have the green dress, when you wore a hard hat, when I made you laugh on the couch. I loved you, and I know you loved me. I took a step closer. And that's why it hurt, I confirmed. That's why, he nodded. And that's why I'm here. I can lose the job, I can lose the credit, I can lose my image, but I don't want to lose you. I looked at him. He was handsome. I never denied that. And that's exactly where he thought he had me. She still loves me. If I look at her the right way, she'll come back. I took a step. Alejandro. Yes. Kiss me. He blinked. Seriously. Yes. I leaned in. Kiss me like when we had nothing. He moved closer, happy, relieved, thinking it had worked. And then the hallway door opened. Victoria with 2 security guards and a tablet recording. There, she said coldly. We have what we needed. Mr. Fernandez approaching the private residence of his ex-wife after attempting to coerce her professionally. All recorded. If a single story appears tomorrow saying she slept her way up, this comes out. The color drained from his face. Sophia, you set me up. No, I replied. I showed you a mirror. And you, he pointed at Victoria. Always sticking your nose in. Always protecting my people, she said. And Sophia is my people. You're not. He looked at the guards. He understood he wasn't getting any further. This isn't over, he threatened. My mom. Your mom, Victoria cut in, just sent the old photos of Sophia to her parish group. You know what happened? The ladies congratulated her for having an ex-daughter-in-law who got ahead. So you better think of another bullet. And she had him escorted out. He left, but before the door closed he turned. You think you won, he said to me. But you didn't win because you don't have the one thing I have. What's that? I asked. Them. And he was gone. I stood still. Them. I looked at Victoria. Victoria sighed. The family, the Sundays, the stay for dinner, the Merry Christmas. Money can't buy that. But it can be created, I replied with a lump in my throat I didn't want to have. It can be made with new people. It can, she confirmed. And we're going to. That's how the idea you're going to like came about. Sophia Stories, Victoria proposed. They're talking about you. Use it. Start a channel not with your full name. A channel for stories. A woman who helped and was betrayed. You tell stories about family, about money, about people who don't appreciate things. Everyone can relate. You monetize it, and when you're ready you tell yours. YouTube. Shorts, long form, whatever you want. You have a nice face, your case is fresh. Your story has luxury and humiliation. That gets views. But, she raised a finger, without humiliating them by name. Don't say Alejandro Fernandez left me. Say my ex, don't say Patricia. Say his family. Drama, but within the guidelines. And I accepted. Because if they wanted to destroy me with exposure, I was going to expose myself my own way. In the first video I recorded like this in perfect Spanish with a calm tone. I never imagined that the people I helped the most would be the ones who clapped the loudest when I was humiliated. You pay for the hospital, you pay the credit cards, you give them jobs, you invite them to your home, and one day at Christmas in front of everyone they tell you, we don't want someone so mediocre anymore. And when they find out the mediocre one had millions, they call you to beg you not to leave them with nothing. Sound familiar? I'm going to tell you how I reacted, and how you can react without sinking to their level. I uploaded it. In 2 hours, 60,000 views. In 24 hours, 1.2 million. Comment after comment. The same thing happened with my mother-in-law. Tell us more about the boss. We want to see when you cut off their credit. Do a part 2. I want to know if you got back with him. Alejandro saw it. Patricia saw it. Daniela saw it. And that's when the dirtiest part came. Because when they realized that not only was I not ashamed, but I was profiting from it, they went for their last card. If you don't take down the videos, we'll tell them about your mother. That message came from a strange anonymous email, but I know where it came from. Patricia again, because the one thing I never expose is my mom. My mom isn't rich. My mom isn't part of this world. My mom used to clean the houses of people like Alejandro's mom. And if they touched her, then the story's tone would change. So I replied not to them but to my audience. In video 3. What happens when the family that humiliated you starts threatening to expose things from your past? What happens is they forget who really holds the papers. They forget who paid whose bills. They forget who has the hospital's email. And they forget that I still haven't told the most powerful part. The pressure didn't let up. On the contrary, the more people watched my videos, the more nervous Alejandro's family got. Because I wasn't just the ex who left in a Rolls Royce. I was the ex who was teaching other women to stop supporting ungrateful people, and that cuts off the source. That same night, Mariana called me, crying for real this time, not for drama. Sophia. Mom is out of control. She said if you keep uploading that garbage, she's going to go to your mother's house to talk to her. Don't let her do that. You know how she is. That's when I froze. Touch me? Okay. Touch my wallet? Game on. Touch my mother? Where is she now? I asked. At her church group. She even sent your photo in a uniform. They're saying your mom didn't raise you right, because she didn't teach you to respect your elders. I breathed. Okay. Don't reply to anything else. Leave it with me. I hung up and called Victoria. They're going for your human flank, she said directly. Normal. When they can't attack you from above, they attack from below. Does your mom know everything? She knows I got divorced. She doesn't know about the show. Then we tell her, not Patricia. We bring her here, we sit her down, we dress her up, and we explain everything without the drama. My mom isn't from this world, Vic. Well, she's about to meet it, and she's going to like it. And while we're at it, we kill two birds with one stone. We protect her and turn her into your best public defense. If your mom says, my daughter did the right thing, Patricia has nowhere to go. It made sense. The next day I went to pick up my mom. A simple neighborhood, a street with kids playing soccer, the smell of popcorn. She welcomed me as always. Daughter, come in. I came in. Want some coffee? I do, but I want to talk. She looked at me with that a bomb is coming face. We sat down. Mom, do you remember Alejandro? I began. Sophia, she held up a hand. If this is to say you got back with him. I didn't, I laughed. He's the one trying to come back. She crossed her arms. I don't like that. I explained everything slowly, without the glamour, without the CEO, without Ashford, without the 47 million. I explained how they applauded, how they called me mediocre, how I paid for the hospital, how we cut things off, how they now want to throw old photos at me. My mom listened, then scratched her forehead. So let me see if I got this straight. You helped. They spat on you. You stopped helping. Now they're mad because you stopped helping. Exactly. And they're saying I'm the one who raised you wrong. Exactly. My mom let out one of those dry laughs of a woman who has cleaned many a difficult lady's house. Oh no. Now I'm getting involved. Mom. No, Sophia, now I'm getting involved. I kept quiet when you married him without listening to me. I kept quiet when you paid those bills. I kept quiet when you said, Mom, wait for me, I'm going to work in the Capitol. I kept quiet. But to say I didn't raise you right, she pointed to her chest. Now it's personal. Mom, it's going to be public. Even better, she smiled. I always wanted to wear heels and never had a reason. I took her to Victoria's office. Victoria loved her. Your mother is beautiful, she said. She has truth in her face. People love that. My mom felt a little strange with the glass, the capsule coffee, the expensive dress. So this is how you live, daughter? It is. Then live upright, without hiding. And so, the next day my most powerful video yet was released. Title in Spanish. They humiliated me on Christmas, and now they want to attack my mom. I won't allow it. I was in the foreground, but the camera panned to my mom, sitting in a simple blouse, her hair pulled back. Hello, she said shyly. I'm Sophia's mom. I don't have millions. I don't have a company. The only thing I have is my dignity and my upbringing. And yes, I raised her to help. What I didn't raise her to do was put up with ungrateful people. I almost applauded. My daughter paid a hospital bill that I couldn't even look at, she continued. She asked for nothing in return because I taught her that you help family without broadcasting it. And those people, she looked straight at the camera, laughed at her because they didn't know how much she had. So if you want to attack her, attack me. But have the courage to say your name. Don't be cowards like you were on Christmas. Victoria cut it there and uploaded it. Boom. 3 million views in 12 hours. Comments exploding. Your mom is a treasure. Now I understand everything. With a mother like that, of course she succeeded. Her mother-in-law must be fuming. Ha ha ha. Part where the mother-in-law finds out, please. And like clockwork, Patricia saw it and lost control. Because what she wanted was to sling mud, and what came out was more light. She called me screaming. You don't bring your mother into this. Don't drag her into this circus. Heh, I said. But you were going to go talk to her. No, but not for the whole country to see her. Well, now they have. Sophia. Her voice trembled with rage. You don't understand what you're doing. You're destroying our image. You destroyed your image when you said, you deserve better than her. At the dinner table. I just pressed upload. She took a deep breath and then let it out. Well, I can upload things about you too. You want me to tell them who your father was? You want me to say that your mother used to work as a? You can tell them, I said, no longer afraid. But tell the whole story. Tell them my mom worked in the houses of people like you, and still raised a daughter who paid for Mrs. Fernandez's hospital bills. Tell them that. It'll get views. She swore and hung up. Victoria next to me was laughing so hard she almost spilled her coffee. They don't understand the internet, she said. Every punch they throw just boosts you. Except, because there's always a but. The higher I rose on the internet, the more interested Daniela's family became. Her father, the one who wanted to get on the board for years, realized that my face generated engagement. And rich people love two things, power and visibility. So he sent a message. Mrs. Sophia, I would like to sponsor your channel. You tell stories, we provide the advertising. You win, we win. I told Victoria. Don't accept, she said immediately. That old man wants to use you to launder money and to control what you say. If you want to tell the part about the boss mistress tomorrow, he'll shut you down. But I can use him, I countered. You can, but by your rules. And then she gave me an idea that was going to hurt Daniela. Do this, Victoria said. In the next video, explain how to identify when your partner is with his boss. Without naming names, without saying where, without giving a title, but saying everything. I loved it. I recorded. Sometimes it's not that he's tired. Sometimes it's that he's investing elsewhere. Signs your partner is with his boss. He starts talking about image and not mixing things. He demands your silence but shows her off. He wants you invisible when there are wealthy people around. And the clearest sign. He humiliates you in front of his family so he can say, I'm free now. But he doesn't let you go when he needs your credit card. If this happens to you, don't cry. Invoice them. I uploaded it. Guess who commented from a fake account called @businesswoman? And what if the boss also has her own life and isn't the bad guy? I laughed because Daniela could be rich, she could be cold, she could have a hotel, but I had an audience. And the audience takes the side of the woman who was humiliated on Christmas. Except the story wasn't going to end on YouTube, because when someone's wallet is at stake, they go to the law. A week later, I received a notification. A pre-litigation cease and desist letter for defamation. The signatories? Patricia Fernandez and Alejandro Fernandez. They wanted me to take down the videos, stop insinuating things, and restore the benefits that had been taken from them. I almost framed it and hung it on the wall. They want the money back, I showed Victoria. And they want you to stop earning from it, she completed. Of course they were going to try. But look at their mistake. They sent it with a family lawyer, not a top firm. That means two things. They don't have the money for a top lawyer, and they're desperate. Do we respond? We respond in a video, she smiled. And with our lawyer. And so I did. They want to silence me and still I won't name them. Today I received this. I showed the notification. A family that applauded when I was humiliated is asking me not to talk about being humiliated. I won't name them because I don't have to. I won't show their address because I don't have to. But I will say this. Help is not an obligation. Gratitude is. And when there's no gratitude, there are consequences. And when there are threats, there are more stories. It exploded again. Alejandro obviously saw it and did what people with no media training do. He went to his Instagram stories with his 10,000 followers and let loose. Don't believe everything you see. Some people play the victim, but in reality, they used our family to get where they are. He deleted it in 5 minutes, but the internet doesn't forgive. Screenshots were already out. And then my followers went after him. They told him everything, they sent him the video from the steps, they sent him the Rolls Royce, they sent him memes. Daniela called me furious. Was that necessary? She said. They're destroying him. He destroyed himself, I replied. I'm just making it clear. Sophia, she changed her tone. My father is upset. He says this is tarnishing the family name. We need to tone it down. Your father can join the board whenever he wants, I said. You know what he has to do? What? Publicly state that his company does not support men who humiliate the women who help them. Then we'll see. Silence. Daniela wasn't used to negotiating from a losing position. "You're going too far," she whispered. "You're getting too full of yourself. I'm believing in what I am. That's the difference." She hung up without saying goodbye. Victoria snapped her fingers. "Done. Now they'll attack us where it hurts." "Where?" "At the construction sites. They'll try to say your projects had irregularities, that you used favors, that you earned commissions." "Classic." "And there, my dear," she looked at me seriously, "there we have to be impeccable." We are, she smiled. "I keep receipts for even the coffee I don't drink." They had only one move left, and it came. Not by call, not by email, in person. The one who appeared at my office in dark glasses and a fur coat was Patricia. With her, Mariana, in the glass lobby, without an appointment. "She doesn't have an appointment," said the receptionist. "I'm the ex-mother-in-law," Patricia said, as if it were a title. I could have had her come up and humiliate her, but I preferred another scene. I went down to the lobby. "Mrs. Patricia." "Mariana." "Sophia." She lifted her chin. "Do you like what you're doing?" "I love it." "You're coming off as resentful." "I'm coming off as a warning." She came closer, clutching her purse. "Look, it was hard for her. I thank you for what you did for Hector. Truly. But you can't just leave a family on the street like that, from one day to the next." "I didn't leave anyone on the street," I replied. "I just stopped paying for your beach house." Mariana grabbed her arm. "Mom, calm down. No, let her hear this." Patricia took a deep breath. "You want me to apologize? That's what you want. You want me to say sorry for clapping? Fine, I'm sorry. There." Mariana's eyes widened. I was surprised. "I'm sorry," Patricia repeated, and I saw it hurt. "I'm sorry because I didn't know who you were. I'm sorry because I let my son influence me. But now stop. Don't continue. Take down the videos. Stop exposing us. Let us move on. Hector isn't well. I don't want him to die thinking you hate us." She played the father card. I breathed. "Mrs. Patricia," I said slowly, "I don't hate you. I'm just not going to keep supporting disrespect. If you want me to stop, you all have to stop too. Stop threatening my mother. Stop sending photos. Stop saying I took advantage of you. Stop calling Daniela to shut me up. Stop sending cease and desist letters. If you stop, you stop. I'll think about it." She looked at me with that look of someone who has always gotten everything with drama. "It's not enough. Neither was, finally, son. You deserve better than her." I threw it back at her. "And look, here we are." Patricia pressed her lips together. "Fine," she said at last. "Then we'll see you in court." "We'll see you there," I nodded. "Bring the hospital papers. Bring the credit cards. Bring your daughter's contract. Bring the messages where you asked me for a higher limit. I'll bring mine." She turned on her heel and walked out. Mariana stayed for a moment. "Sophie," she whispered, "are you really going to take her to court?" "I'm really going to take everything where it needs to go," I replied, "because I'm no longer afraid of them seeing what I have." "But what if Dad? He won't be able to take another." Her eyes filled with tears. Then I remembered something you asked for at the beginning. A touch of wealth, of assets, but with emotion. I knelt down to her level. "Mariana, I can even help again. But this time there will be a condition." She looked at me with hope. "What?" "That the apology is public," I said. "That the same people who saw you applaud see you apologize. Not for me, for your mom, for your dad. And for all the daughters-in-law you've treated poorly before." She swallowed. "That can be done." "Then do it," I smiled. "And I'll see what I do." She left. Victoria came from the side. "Getting soft," she joked. "No, I'm being strategic," I corrected. "If they apologize in public, that video is worth more than any lawsuit and is ready to." She made the gesture of closing a book. I smiled. The hearing felt like an expensive theater with nervous people. A large room, shiny wood, press cameras outside because the businesswoman who was humiliated on Christmas was already news. A serious prosecutor, a judge with a no-nonsense face. On the left side, me, Victoria, my lawyer, and my mom in a simple dress, sitting quietly, but with the posture of a queen. On the right side, Patricia, rigid, Mariana, anxious. Alejandro, trying to look elegant. And Hector, tired but present. The case on paper was simple. They wanted me to take down my videos and restore benefits. We presented records of aid, screenshots of humiliation, videos from the courthouse steps, the footage of Alejandro coming to my house to try to coerce me, a screenshot of his story trying to discredit me, plus the hospital package where donors was listed. The judge glanced at everything, raised an eyebrow and said, "This seems to be less a legal matter and more a matter of shame." The prosecutor almost smiled. "Mrs. Fernandez, Patricia," said the judge, "do you acknowledge that Mrs. Sophia paid for your husband's treatment?" "Yes," she bit out. "She did." "Do you acknowledge that she got you a line of credit?" "Yes." "Do you acknowledge that your children got jobs in companies related to her?" "Yes." "Do you acknowledge that at a Christmas dinner, you celebrated your son divorcing her, and that you called her mediocre?" Silence. The whole room waited. Patricia clutched her purse, looked at her husband, looked at the cameras, because she knew there were people recording outside. And for the first time since I met that woman, she lowered her head. "Yes," she said, almost in a whisper. "We did." "Do you understand," the judge continued, "that this conduct allows Mrs. Sophia to recount the events she experienced from her perspective, as long as it doesn't violate your privacy or expose sensitive data?" "But she has millions of followers," Alejandro blurted out. "She's destroying us." "No," the judge cut in. "You destroyed yourselves when you applauded." She is narrating. "It's not the same thing." Victoria almost let out a ha, but she contained herself. The judge turned to me. "Mrs. Sophia, with your economic and media power, you also have a responsibility. You cannot turn a family conflict into a perpetual public lynching. What are you seeking?" I had already rehearsed that answer because that was what would circulate. "I'm seeking closure, Your Honor," I said, looking straight ahead. "For it to be clear who helped whom. For the abuse to stop so they can no longer ask for money while simultaneously humiliating someone. And I'm seeking," I breathed, "for them to understand that even if a woman has money, that doesn't obligate her to tolerate contempt." The prosecutor nodded. "Then," said the judge, "this is easily resolved. Mrs. Sophia is not obligated to restore any benefits. The Fernandez family will refrain from contacting her to request financial aid, except through her legal representative. Neither party may threaten or expose data about Mrs. Sophia's family. And given that the controversy was public, the apology must be public." Patricia's eyes widened. "Public. Public," the judge repeated, "just as the offense was." Mariana looked at me as if to say, "Is this it?" Hector breathed a sigh of relief. Alejandro's face hardened. "I'm not going to apologize," he said, crossing his arms. "She used us. She made us look bad." "She." "Mr. Fernandez," the judge interrupted. "One can be proud or one can be an adult. You can't be both at the same time." "It wasn't just my fault," he insisted. "It was Daniela's fault, it was my mom's fault, it was. And yet, it was you who said mediocre." I cut him off without yelling. "It was you who threw the papers on the table. It was you who celebrated with your brother. Nobody put a gun to your head." He took a deep breath. "And if I don't apologize?" The judge looked at him with tired patience. "Then this court expressly authorizes Mrs. Sophia to continue telling her story, with dates, places, and context, through all means she deems appropriate, and you will have no grounds for complaint later. Apologize and it's over. Don't and it becomes a series." It was beautiful to see his face because he understood. Either he swallowed his pride or I would make a second, third, fourth season. Patricia grabbed her son's arm. "Son, it's enough. Mom, it's enough. We're not going to fight with people who have better cameras than we do." He looked at me and I'll say it again. He was still the guy I fell in love with one day, only now he was broken, without his crown, without an audience. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "Louder," I requested. He breathed, looked at the judge, looked at the journalist trying to peer in. "I'm sorry," he repeated louder. "I'm sorry for humiliating you. I'm sorry for letting my family applaud you. I'm sorry for not seeing what you were doing, and thank you for what you gave." The room was silent. Patricia also spoke. "I apologize too. I was unfair. I thought you were a gold digger. And the gold digger was me. Mariana cried. Hector nodded. The judge banged the gavel. So noted. Case closed. But you wanted a comeback, a twist, didn't you? So here it is. When we left the hearing with everything settled, Victoria got a message from her legal team and almost laughed in my face. They're going to love you, she said. Who? Women. Why? She showed me her phone. The video from inside the courtroom was already leaking onto gossip accounts. Ex-mother-in-law publicly apologizes to millionaire daughter-in-law, who supported the entire family. And the comments were already like this. I live for this kind of justice. Apologize with the same microphone you used to humiliate her. I want part 78. She should launch a course. That was it. They wanted to silence me with shame and ended up giving me the perfect ending, the public apology. But then came the twist no one expected. Amidst the comments, a verified profile with a photo in a suit appeared. Luis Salgado, president of the National Construction Chamber, commented, "Stories like these are what we want in our women's leadership program. Mrs. Sophia, we await you." Victoria almost jumped. "See what I told you," she said. "Tell your drama well, and it becomes branding." And Alejandro, did he disappear? No, because people who lose the spotlight try to grab any light they can. 3 days after the hearing, he uploaded a cheesy video, recorded on his phone in a parked car. Hey everyone. I know some of you saw what happened. I know some of you think I'm the bad guy. I just want to say that it hurt me too, that I also felt left out, that being married to a very successful woman is also difficult, and that sometimes you do stupid things. But that I love her, and that if one day she wants to. He looked dramatically at the camera. My home will always have a place for her. I was watching it with my mom. My mom made a tisk sound. Now he wants likes, she said. Now he wants followers, I corrected. And you. I'm going to upload the finale. The finale went like this. I wasn't lacking love. I was lacking respect. End of the story. Many people ask me if I've forgiven him. Yes, I've forgiven him because forgiveness is for me, not for him. But forgiving isn't going back. Forgiving isn't reopening the credit line. Forgiving isn't pretending it didn't happen. Forgiving is letting go and learning. I learned that love without respect is a debt. I learned that giving without limits makes you a cashier, not family. I learned that hiding what you have doesn't make them love you more. It makes them underestimate you. And I learned that some people only applaud you when they see you down because from the top, you can see who's clapping out of self-interest. That family. I already helped them, I already loved them, I already supported them, and I already left them. Now comes another part. I'm going to use what I know: money, construction, contacts for women who are valued. For the ones who pay for their father-in-law's chemo and are left alone. For the ones who support their brothers-in-law and are called mediocre. For the ones who cook on Christmas and are kicked out on Christmas. It's going to be called the Christmas Without Humiliation Fund. And yes, Victoria has already said she's making the first donation. If they wanted to shame me in public, I'm going to provide help in public. Alejandro, I wish you the real life you wanted. I hope it treats you better than you treated me. I'm keeping mine. And to you who are watching this, if they ever clapped when you were hurting, don't stay silent. Speak up. Because silence protects the abuser. A voice protects the one who loved. I uploaded it. It was the biggest video on the channel. And the best part wasn't the numbers, it was the DMs. Sophia, thank you. Sophia, today I stopped paying my ex-mother-in-law's credit card. You encouraged me to move out of my brother-in-law's house. I also paid for a hospital and got kicked out. I want to work with you on that fund. And then I understood. The ending wasn't, I humiliated them back. The ending was, I took their humiliation and turned it into my stage. Alejandro will live his life saying he left a millionaire. Patricia will spend her life saying, I apologize too. Hector will finally sleep knowing he doesn't owe me anything. Mariana will work for real and be good at it because she had talent. She just used it for intrigue. Daniela will think twice before using a married man as a stepping stone. And I get to live with the most elegant part of all: freedom. The freedom to say how much I have, to say where I come from, to say who humiliated me, and above all, to never again support someone who applauds while I bleed.